In this world, there are 3 powerful kingdoms. Tension is high between them, so they're always on the brink of war. There's also an extremely powerful and evil dragon feared by all men named Dagonzod, who came from the shadow to scorch the earth and devour the soul of mankind. The story starts with a purple moon under which a girl is tied up and surrounded by a bunch of wizards chanting. Suddenly, a shadow lurks towards her and she cries for help. From the shadow comes out a full-size terrifying dragon. It's Dagonzod himself. She screams, but suddenly the chains around her hands burst open and capture Dagonzod, a perfect trap laid out to capture him in a prison of eternal time. The main man casting the spell, Lord Biro, suddenly gets stabbed by an unseen person, yet he commands the ceiling to continue. What a Chad. But with Lord Biro injured, the dragon is powerful enough to cut through the shields of the spell and ends up killing Hiiro, son of Lord Biro, and causing a huge blast. Everyone dies, even Lord Biro. 10 years later, we see that Hiiro somehow survived the incident. Now he's a wandering swordsman. While strolling through a new town, a super rich, super powerful weapon merchant, Nabuko, comes in with huge chariots and guards. Nabuko is filthy rich, and he throws money out to the people, making everyone happy about it. But Hiiro notices some kids saying that Nabuko's coins are small things compared to his Grand Troa, a powerful magical item that can grant any wish of theirs. One of these kids, Pishati, becomes fascinated by the Grand Troa. So Pishati sneaks into Nabuko's chariot. Meanwhile, one of the thieves steals Hiiro's special crest. So he sneaks into the kid's hideout and takes the crest from the leader of the kids, Tomit. Tomit insists that what they stole belongs to them. In another part of the city, we see a half-orc, half-human warrior named Giru and a creature named Palupa searching for Hiiro. In a mansion, we see Nabuko making a business deal with the Lord. Nabuko shows him the Grand Troa, offering to use it to the Lord's advantage. Suddenly, the ceiling opens and a small dragon sticks its tongue and attempts to steal the Grand Troa. Nabuko's people use their magic to catch the thief, which turns out to be Pishati. Later, the kids find out that Pishati got caught, so they all run away together to save their friend. The next morning, Nabuko's right-hand woman, Sarisaru, announces that Pishati will be executed. Hiiro offers to rescue Pishati and approaches Sarisaru, saying the death penalty is too much, only to be surrounded by guards ready to fight. "You must not draw your swords unless it's necessary," says Hiiro, fighting the guards, which instigate a magical attack from Sarisaru. Just then, Giru arrives at the scene, addressing Hiiro as young master and ready to help. Palupa claims that Hiiro's swordsmanship is not top level yet. He tells Hiiro that the idea that you could defeat Dagonzod at your level isn't even funny. It's chilling. Sarisaru reveals the Grand Troa and its powers and threatens to kill them. Hiiro recognizes the Grand Troa, saying it's actually his father, Lord Biro's stealing treasure. But Sarisaru uses the powers to attack them. However, it gets blocked, which leads to a whole-ass mountain blowing up. Suddenly, the shadow of Dagonzod appears, revealing that it's not dead, and that it has a mark similar to the one on Hiiro's heart. The mark on both their hearts shines and Hiiro launches towards Dagon, only to get caught in his grip and be shot by lightning. The guards start shooting arrows at it, but to everyone's surprise, Dagonzod protects Hiiro and it returns back to the shadows. Nabuko is quite exhilarated. The people shall fear absolute terror again after a decade. Later, Hiiro lies in the kid's hideout, where Giru explains that 10 years ago, Hiiro's father, Lord Biro, and Lord Biro's wife, Kismatiti, yes, that's a real name, Kismatiti, they tried to seal Dagon away in the buffer zone between the 3 countries with a sealing treasure, along with the power of 100 mages, resulting in Hiiro's parents being engulfed in soul-devouring flames. Suddenly, Hiiro wakes up screaming Dagonzod. Giru tries to console him, but he tries to go fight Dagon. Pishati mentions that the Grand Troa could be used to defeat Dagon. Hiiro agrees and plans to get it from Nabuko. Elsewhere, Nabuko commands Sarisaru to find Hiiro as he seems to have some connection to Dagonzod. Meanwhile, Hiiro and his crew run into a cat demi-human called Erin, who takes them to a place to eat. While eating, Erin asks about the fuss caused in the morning. Erin is an information monger and she sells information to whoever pays her. Hiiro says that he wants to set out to find Nabuko, but Giru disagrees as Hiiro does not have the skills to fight monsters they would encounter along the way. They decide to stay a little longer and train. Hiiro and Giru start their training by fighting slimes. Hiiro, underestimating the slime babies, attacks them, only to be choked by one as they are pretty fast. Giru leaves to fight other monsters. Suddenly, a huge sand dragon arrives at their location. While Hiiro gets ready to fight it, the dragon opens his mouth, revealing a strange girl inside. Her name is Sarato, and she's kind of a simple-minded girl. Sarato suddenly comes out and hugs Hiiro. Hiiro is obviously cautious of this girl because, stranger danger. When Giru arrives, they all ditch her. Hiiro goes back to the town where she starts thinking about Sarato. Tama teases him, saying that he's in love. Meanwhile, Sarisaru is looking for Hiiro, but no luck. Not even her mirror magic works. Elsewhere, Nabuko sits in his evil hideout and makes his evil plans to start a war between the three kingdoms. He commands a scientist named Bafalopa to create a new powerful weapon that the kingdoms might use on each other. Bafalopa accepts. Meanwhile, Sarato finds Hiiro in the gang hideout. Since she seems helpless, Hiiro decides to let her stay with him. The next day, Hiiro goes to train with the slimes again, and like usual, he's doing badly. Suddenly, a huge wolf monster attacks them. Hiiro fights back and gets injured, but he manages to kill it. Sarato uses some magic to heal him easily. Then they sell the monster's body for a gold coin. The next day, Hiiro and Giru go for the usual training. Sarato wanders around town and runs into Eren. She takes her to a hot spring called the Healing Springs. Sarisaru is also there, enjoying a bath. Meanwhile, Hiiro gets tired of the training with the slimes, so he says that he'll go defeat Dagonzod on his own. Giru tells him that even if Hiiro got the Grand Troa, at his current strength, he wouldn't be able to defeat Dagonzod. Hiiro gets buttered from this, so he launches a deadly attack at Giru, but Giru cuts him and Hiiro starts bleeding. So Giru takes him to the healing hot springs. At the hot springs, the healing waters heal Hiro's wound instantly, and he wakes up all fine and well. Giru tells him that he was just testing Hiro's resolve and agrees to take the journey to defeat Dagonzod. Just then, Sarisaru commands her soldiers to release a monster from the hot spring, but instead of Hiiro, it goes after Sarato and Sarisaru. Hiiro tries to be a hero, but Giru moves faster and defeats the monster quite easily. They all take the tentacles to town and get some coins. Then they prepare to leave the town on their journey. But Tomet also decides to go with them, promising the rest of his gang that he'll be back. Tomet plans to use the Grand Troa to change this world. Immediately after, Eren also joins their party with a promise to take them to Nabuko's castle. They begin their journey, but they're being followed by a bird with a surveillance camera which Nabuko is using to spy on the group. Then the bird attacks them. Hiiro tries to be a hero again, but Giru is the better warrior and he sends the bird running. Flying. Meanwhile, Nabuko is busy selling his weapons. He sells the latest and greatest weapons to different warring groups. Then he takes some time off from his busy schedule to scold his loyal follower, Sarisaru. Because, that's what villains do. Then he sends her to capture Hiiro. Sarisaru teleports there and summons 3 giant golems. Hiiro quickly goes to stop her, but her magic is too powerful for him. So Giru defeats all the soldiers to get to him. A golem tries to stop him, so he breaks its magical crystal and the golem disappears. Seriously, my man Giru is carrying this team hard. Then Palupa summons a magical person named Mumu and uses her chest to hide Tomet, Sarato, and himself. Giru tries to save Hiiro, but Sarisaru stops him with her magic and tortures him as well. Then she also starts stabbing Hiiro, but suddenly, a strange blue power comes out from Hiiro. He becomes completely monstrous, losing control and killing the soldiers with his bare hands. Sarisaru barely manages to escape. Hiiro becomes subconscious and walks the desert mindlessly. Meanwhile, Palupa and the others find Giru. Sarato uses her magic to heal him, then they look for Hiiro. Elsewhere, Nabuko shows off his new machine to our royal aristocrat. They combine an orc and 3 humans to create a dangerous and powerful creature. It's so dangerous that they have to kill it immediately after, which I think is quite a shame. The aristocrat is impressed and asks for an entire army of such creatures. Hiiro arrives at the place, and since he's a complete idiot, he reveals himself to Nabuko. They get into a fight, and Nabuko beats him easily. As for Hiiro, he has been tied up, but just then, the scientist Bafalopa comes in looking for Sarato. Bafalopa claims that Hiiro is carrying Sarato's smell and demands to know where she is. Turns out there's some connection between him and Sarato. Bafalopa listens to Hiiro's heart and says, "Your heart is not your own." He seems to believe that Hiiro and Sarato are fated to be together, so he offers to send him back to her. He gives Hiiro a potion that teleports him away. Before he goes, Bafalopa tells him to find a man named Master Theo. Hiiro reaches his friends and they run away. Later, Hiiro and the rest think about what Bafalopa said. Your heart is not your own. They also think about the time Dagonzod saved Hiiro. Giru makes a guess that Hiiro and Dagonzod's heart switched bodies 10 years ago. That also explains Hiiro's strange destructive power earlier. Hiiro realizes that if he dies, then Dagonzod will die and vice versa. Hiiro decides to use the Grand Troa to exchange his heart with Dagonzod. One day, the group reaches an abandoned village which is full of long marks. Giru realizes that this was his childhood village. His father was an ogre and his mother was a human. Some humans attacked their ogre village, so the ogres blamed Giru's mother. They tied up Giru's parents and hanged them. Giru ran away from the village and was eventually saved by Hiiro's father, Lord Byro. Suddenly, another one of Nabuko's hybrid monsters attacks them. Tama tells Hiiro to use his dragon powers, but he can't control them. So Giru has to beat the monster, like always. Elsewhere, we see that Eren has run away to Nabuko and is telling him about Hiro's dragon form. She asks for some payment for this information, so he gives her a magical item called Elshina, which can hear people talking from anywhere. Then Nabuko sends Sarisaru to find Hiiro, and this time, to kill him. Eren overhears this command, so she goes back to Hiro's group, which has reached a market town. She buys some enchanted arrows which can kill a big monster in one hit. Later, they discuss the man that Bafalopa mentioned, the one named Master Theo. Giru and Palupa reveal that Master Theo was actually Lord Byro's master. Sarato also says that Master Theo is her friend. To clear things up, they decide to find him. That night, they are trying to sleep, but a strange shadow attacks the whole town. It's so powerful that just a touch is enough to destroy buildings. It also sucks in the townspeople, including Giru. Just then, Sarisaru comes out, revealing that she's behind the attack, and the monster is something that Nabuko gave her. She uses her electricity powers on Hiiro and stabs him a little bit. This unleashes Hiro's dragon form again and he loses control of himself. Eren also secretly uses her new arrow to save Giru. Then Dagonzod appears from the ground, so Giru goes to save Hiiro, but Hiiro attacks him with his sword. Then Dagonzod disappears into the ground. Hiiro regains his consciousness and sees that he gravely wounded Giru. Sometime later, Giru wakes up, and she cured him earlier, but she says that this is something she can't cure. So Hiiro and Sarato go to a canyon which is rumored to have these special healing herbs. When they're gone, Tama tells them of his suspicions of Sarato, how she never eats and never laughs. Also, Sarisaru always seems to find them, and Tama thinks that it's because of Sarato. Meanwhile, Hiiro and Sarato find the special herb on top of a hill. However, the hill turns out to be a giant tortoise. Despite a lot of difficulties, Hiiro manages to pull out the herb. He falls, so Sarato catches him and she laughs. Hiiro is surprised to see her laugh for the first time. Later, they feed it to Giru and he wakes up completely fine. Eren reveals that a war might be coming and Nabuko is the weapons merchant pushing for this war. He has spread false rumors amongst the three kingdoms which caused them to increase their military presence. The next day, they reach a mountain where they finally meet Master Theo. Master Theo hugs Sarato, causing Hiiro to become a little bit jealous. They tell Master Theo about Hiro's dragon heart and he offers to teach Hiiro magic. While that is happening, Eren uses the Alshine to spy on other people's conversations and finds out that all three kingdoms in the continent are mustering troops and preparing battle formations. Master Theo teaches him a skill called the Koku Blade, which allows him to use an invisible magical sword which he demonstrates. Hiiro also tries it and he manages to create a small effect that scratches the rock behind Master Theo, who becomes completely shocked. This training goes on for some time. Later, Master Theo tells Giru that Hiro's magic is actually pretty powerful, but he does not realize it yet. Earlier when they were practicing, Hiro's magic managed to pierce through him. The next day, Hiiro expresses his frustration at the training style, so Master Theo challenges him to cut him with a Koku Blade. If he's successful, then his training will be complete. Hiiro does the Koku Blade and Master Theo pretends to get injured. Then he sends them away on their journey. Later, it is revealed that Hiro's magic was actually powerful enough to break Theo's defensive magic. Hiiro just doesn't know it yet. The group reaches a desert, which is the final part of their journey before they reach Nabuko's hideout. Meanwhile, Nabuko puts Sarisaru in an experiment with the monster and they start fusing together. Back in the desert, they continue their journey, while the three kingdoms start marching towards a war. Suddenly, a sandstorm hits them, causing lots of confusion. Hiiro and his crush Sarato get separated from the rest of the group. Hiiro becomes extremely dehydrated, so Sarato collects air moisture on her body and feeds it to Hiiro. Suddenly, Sarisaru comes to them in her new and improved monster form. She knocks down Sarato and kidnaps Hiiro. Meanwhile, the three kingdoms have gathered at the buffer zone to fight their senseless war. Elsewhere, Hiiro wakes up in Nabuko's hideout and they get into a fight. Nabuko reveals that he was present at the incident 10 years ago, and he was the one who shot Lord Byro in the back when no one was looking. He planned to use the chaos caused by Dagonzod to earn lots and lots of money. Now he plans to use Hiiro as a bargaining tool to control Dagonzod, because he is Dagonzod's heart. Meanwhile, Giru and the rest find Sarato hitting a special kind of metal that will attract a dragon. Soon after, a dragon comes flying in her direction. They all ride the dragon to Nabuko's castle, but they get attacked by a giant missile that kills the dragon, so they have to hide. Bafalopa comes and takes them all to his lab. He reveals that Sarato is not a human but actually a magic doll that he made at Nabuko's orders. She was created using Dagonzod's blood, which makes her very, very powerful and immune to fire. Then they go to the main control room where Nabuko is holding Hiiro hostage. He promises not to kill Hiiro if Sarato surrenders herself. She does so, and Nabuko teleports away with them while Sarisaru holds the others back. Nabuko takes them to the same place where 10 years ago, Hiiro's parents tried to steal Dagonzod. The three kingdoms have also gathered in this same place. Sara tells them the main plan. Nabuko plans to summon Dagonzod in this land, and has prepared huge machines that will fuse Dagonzod with all the soldiers of the three kingdoms, creating an even bigger and more evil monster. He's also going to use the souls of the people inside this castle to activate the machines. Sara thought that she would be saved, but it turns out Nabuko has betrayed her and plans to use her soul as well. Sara is absolutely devastated because of this betrayal. No one can leave. Nabuko activates Sarato's weapon mode, then he commands her to fight Hiiro so that Dagonzod will have to come out to protect Hiiro. Meanwhile, the others call Mumu, but she isn't able to enter the castle, so they ask her to shoot a hole into the sphere around it. Mumu shoots a hole there using magic cannon. Once there is the hole, Sara teleports them to the battlefield. Elsewhere, Hiiro starts turning into his dragon form. He and Sarato get into an intense battle. Hiiro tries to stop them, but Sara backstabs him because she still has toxic feelings for the toxic Nabuko. Just then, Dagonzod finally reveals himself. Immediately, Nabuko begins the process to fuse it with thousands of soldiers. Once that happens, he fuses himself with Dagonzod. Hiiro tries to fight him, but Nabuko easily overpowers him. So Bafalop and the others work together to shut down the three reactors. Then, Tama takes the Grand Trio away. Nabuko does not receive any more strength, but he is already too powerful. He uses Dagonzod's powerful soul-destroying flames to destroy them. But Sarato was made using dragon's blood, so she saves her friends. So in return, Nabuko kills her. Hiiro goes apeshit crazy and cuts off his arm. Then he also stabs Nabuko until he drops to the ground. The body of Dagonzod separates from Nabuko's body and they have a new enemy to fight. So Hiiro decides to sacrifice himself in order to kill Dagonzod. But he gets a sudden idea and he takes the Grand Trio. Then he creates a mystical blade from it and uses the power of the Koku blade on Dagonzod. He cuts the dragon and pulls out his own heart, but instead of putting it in himself, he puts it in Sarato. Dagonzod's body disappears while Sarato wakes up and smiles like a normal human. The three armies also retreat after Eren tells them all the shady things that Nabuko did to bring them all here. Sometime later, the group buries Bafalopa, who died in Nabuko's attack. Tamit decides to go back to his city to meet his friends. Hiiro vows to continue training to become a great swordsman. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.